Hey guys, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be showing you all of the different 35mm film cameras in my collection. Film has gotten increasingly more popular, especially within the past year or so in the wedding photography community, so I just thought it'd be fun to show you what I'm shooting on. I have my iced coffee, and let's get into it. Okay, starting out with the first film camera I ever purchased, which is a Pentax Honeywell Spotmatic, and I got this back in 2017. 2017 is when I really started getting more into photography. I was like getting paid clients, and I just thought film would be like a fun thing for me to try out, so that's why I picked this camera up. This is a single lens reflex camera, and it also has detachable lenses, so I can change this out, but I think this one is a 50mm 2.0. I can't exactly remember. Let me see what it says. It's a 55mm lens 2.0. And it's by Takumar. I'm just gonna show you because I don't really know that much about the names. So that's what it says on the lens. This is what came with the camera. Honestly, I got this on Amazon. Came with the lens. It was like maybe $120, if that, probably less honestly. I think this is a great starter camera if you're trying to learn more about how to shoot film manually, and if you also like that like vintage look to the cameras. Obviously this has that. I've shot through a couple rolls of film on this camera, so I'm gonna show them here. It honestly does really well for the price. The lens isn't anything spectacular in my personal opinion, but it does a good job for being like a $100 film camera. Next up is another SLR camera. This is the Canon EOS Elan 7E, and the reason I got this camera is because I needed something faster with autofocus, and I wanted something that took my EF lenses because this is the camera that I use to shoot weddings with. If you're already familiar with Canon products, you'll see that this really looks just like a 5D, just without the screen in the back. But all of the button placement is super similar, so having like the wheel on the back is really similar to the 5D layout to like adjust your aperture. This button, similar, the shutter's in the same place, so it's kind of like muscle memory, which is really nice. It makes shooting much faster and easier. Weddings are just really fast-paced, uncontrolled environments, and that's why I knew that I couldn't be like fiddling with my settings on a camera like this because it takes so long to turn the knob to adjust the shutter speed and then open up the aperture manually on here. Whereas on this camera, first off, it can take better glass, but second off, it has autofocus. You can see the light metering inside of the viewfinder, and all of the buttons are placed so similarly to where they were on my 5D that it's just like muscle memory. It's really easy for me to set the settings super quickly. So when you look through the viewfinder, you're actually able to see your light metering, and you can see that there's autofocus in there. And I'm typically using a 50mm or my 35mm primes on this camera. Next up is this rangefinder, which is the Canon GIII. Honestly, I don't use this camera a ton. It's like so cute. It looks like beautiful sitting on my shelf, and I wish I used it more, but just being a rangefinder, the learning curve it's definitely different than shooting with any of the cameras that I have currently. Just like the way that you focus and stuff like that is super different, so it's not very quick for me to use because I'm not used to the system, but I do love this camera. Maybe I'll keep it, maybe one day I'll sell it, because right now it's just kind of on my shelf. I do have a roll of film in here, so I'm hoping I can finish up that roll of film so I can get it developed and see how it turns out.
Grace?
Yeah?
I don't know what to say to this guy.
Okay.
Am I busy? Oh.
I'm filming a video. Do you want to?
Hi guys, my name's Christian.
Sorry for the interruption. Okay, and lastly is a point and shoot camera. I only have one point and shoot, and it is this Contax T2, which I actually got on eBay, and I got it for about like $1,200, maybe a little bit less than that, from a seller in Japan. It's interesting because film cameras are not the same as regular cameras where you can just go on the Canon website and pick up a film camera. The best place to get them is eBay. That's where I've gotten pretty much all of my cameras, but just read the reviews on the seller. This camera is definitely a bit overpriced because it's just so in demand. It was made popular by celebrities, and now lots of influencers are using this camera, so the demand is just really high, and because they're not being made anymore, there's not a large supply. However, I heard a YouTuber once say that they're overpriced but they're not overhyped, and I definitely agree with them on that. The lens in this camera is super sharp. It's honestly pretty accurate with the focusing. I think the reason that people love this camera is because it's super rare for a simple point and shoot camera to have incredible glass in the lens, and this camera does. It's a Zeiss lens. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There you go. So you can see it's a Carl Zeiss lens. Really, really sharp, accurate. If you do not want to go drop 1K on a point and shoot camera. There are definitely other options out there. There's like the Canon SureShot ones. I think there's like a Minolta option. I'll find some and I'll link them below. This is my favorite camera for everyday life because it's just so easy to put in my backpack or even in like a small purse, pull it out, take a photo in the moment. You don't have to think very much. It has autofocus, it has built-in flash. You can sort of control the aperture to a certain degree. What I mean by you can sort of control the aperture is if you set it at 2.8, it could be 2.8 or they could set it at 3.2 or whatever they think is the best setting for you. So the camera kind of decides, but all of the other aperture settings will be like what you set them. So yeah, definitely my top pick for just everyday life, traveling, super easy to travel with. Honestly, I love this camera and this is the camera that I use the most. However, I don't really use this at weddings. When I'm shooting a wedding, I like to have control over my settings. I like to have control over like my shutter speed so that I can do some like slow shutter drags like this photo. And you just don't have that control with this camera because it's mainly automatic, but that is the point of a point and shoot. So I'm not complaining about that at all. I just don't really use it if I'm shooting at a session. It's kind of more for like personal use, memories, travel, that kind of thing. So that's my full film camera collection. I will do my best to link options below, but like I said, a lot of these cameras you get on eBay, so I can't really link listings because they'll expire and like sell at some point. But I will be sure to type out the full camera names below so you can look them up and purchase one if you would like. I'm going to be filming a video on just getting started with film, 35mm film made easy next, so keep an eye out for that one. Thanks for being here and I will see you next time.